Hello and welcome back to the channel. The footage you're seeing in this episode has been collected over a period of months, with the earliest clips, as you can tell by the vegetation, probably going back to early March, and some of the more recent clips being now, which is middle of June. Continuing to work on the garden has definitely been a lower priority than some of the other projects, such as finishing the kids' rooms or planting the orchard, which you saw in previous episodes, and especially since the arrival of the baby, progress has slowed down significantly. Nonetheless, I managed to fit a few minutes in here and there to continue to make some progress. I start out by building some more raised beds out of 2x6 dimensional lumber, which are leftovers that have been free to me, so the raised beds have a height of approximately 11 inches. The design is really simple, straight cuts, nails, nothing fancy. Whenever I place a raised bed, I first put down cardboard to suppress some of the weeds, which we've been saving specifically for this purpose. In order to make room for the final location of the greenhouse, I thought I was being clever by dumping the grow bags which the previous owners had left in it to fill up the new raised bed. Can you imagine my delight when I discover that they're filled with styrofoam? According to a quick research I did online, it's probably not something to be super concerned about, but I still don't love the idea of growing veggies and stuff that I'm going to eat in styrofoam, so at some point I'll have to figure out how to sift this out. I then move on to roughly leveling the spot where the greenhouse will end up. And yes, I come across plenty of roots along the way. I used the dirt that I removed from the site to finally start backfilling the trench that I had made when putting in the fence. Once the perimeter of the site is more or less level, it's time to start building the frame that the greenhouse will ultimately be mounted on. Fasten one of the 4x4s to the fence in the back to have a level reference point, and then connect the remaining 3 4x4s into a large U that I can flip up and down as I continue to check for level. This process takes surprisingly long as I continue to find stumps, roots, and big stones that need to be moved out of the way. Finally, I'm able to get the U to lay down square and level, and I fasten it to the beam in the back. I also decide that it's probably a good idea to add 2 more 2x4s which are put on their sides, which eventually will have planters sitting on top of them to further weigh down the frame. Now that the frame is in place, I can take gravel from my infinite gravel supply, which should be good for two reasons. On one hand, I think it will look really nice, and on the other hand, I'm hoping it will provide a little bit of thermal mass that will heat up over the day as the sun's on the greenhouse to keep it a few degrees warmer during the night. Jack is kind enough to give me a hand to move the skeleton of the greenhouse into its final location. Overall, the spring is really wet, which on one hand is great for the orchard to get established, but on the other hand makes progress in the garden difficult. Also, of course, there has to still be some time for play and R&R. Now that the greenhouse provides a reference point for the location of the raised beds, I end up building another 4x12 bed, which I place into its exact spot. I fill it up with the dirt that is in the other 4x12 bed, which then gets moved a little bit over to the right in this picture to have even spacing. In between construction, I plant out the beds that are already there, like this bed full of lettuce, and I do something that I haven't done in years, which is really stupid, and jump the gun with my tomato starts. I lose a total of 40 starts to frost, and now only have 2 tomato plants. Fortunately, I'm able to find the manual for the greenhouse online again, so putting it back together is fairly easy and quick. And as the peas are starting to get taller, I reinstall the trellising. Finally, this is the last of the long 4x12 beds. I don't have any garden soil to fill it with, so I'm planning on using some of the soil that's still in the orchard, which came out of the planting holes for the trees. It's not the greatest for a vegetable garden, but I'm confident I'll be able to build it up over time. So this is how far we've gotten. Yes, it's still unfinished and a little bit messy, but I'm excited because I can tell things are coming together. And we're growing veggies. Peas, radishes, lettuce, garlic are all looking great, and the cucumbers, peppers, and squash are off to a great start. Hope to see you next time.